Hi there, I'm Jo Loring Fisher and I'm the author and illustrator of Just Like You, which is published by Otter-Barry books. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what is behind Just Like You and my process in making the book. It's really about a little girl who's on a long journey. She's with her mum and her baby sister. And throughout the story and throughout her journey, she's pointing things out, like she's got two eyes and things that she's got in common that we all have, really. And she really shares with us just the stuff that how alike we are. At the end of the story, it's revealed that they're refugees. So I'm going to do a little bit of a reading in a minute of the story for you, but I wanted to tell you a bit about the background as well. So when I first started writing Just Like You, I was studying my MA in Children's Book Illustration at Cambridge School of Art, and it was one of my final projects. I was really inspired at the time by a book called What is a Child by Beatrice Alamagna. It's a fantastic Italian illustrator that many of us children's book illustrators really love and admire. And I was quite taken by that book. So I started thinking about doing just faces of children, and just thought about the time where kids kind of point at their eyes and they might point at their nose and their mouth in kind of quite a beautifully clumsy way. So I got quite interested in doing that. And while I was working on that, the kind of storyline came to me, because I thought it's, all children will point at their eyes. I remember saying to my children, where are your eyes? Where are your nose? Where's your mouth? That kind of thing. So I started realising and thinking about how we all do that and how all our children do that. And it made me, I don't know, somehow it kind of developed into this idea of a child refugee. And, often it's easy to look at film reports and TV reports and think, oh, poor them, and feel sympathy, but somehow there's a sense of other. We don't quite get that they're human beings and the same as we are, and it's easy to feel separate by them and from them and feel distant. So I guess I really wanted to flag up to children and maybe their parents as well, while they're reading the story to the child or teacher, nursery teacher, just how similar we really are. Now, Just Like You, as I say, it was a college project, and then I spoke to Janetta Otter-Barry of Otter-Barry books, and she liked it, and over quite a long process between she and I, we decided it would be a good idea to maybe make the main character a girl. I'd noticed that a few of the more recent books on refugees at that time were there was a boy as the main character. We know that girls are underrepresented in books as main characters as well, so I kind of wanted to do a girl for that reason as well. But I also kind of felt that making the character, the mother and the baby all female, kind of another level of vulnerability somehow, which I was quite interested in. So I'm going to show you. So initially, when I first wrote it, the character was a boy. Now this is one of my first just little dummy books, as we call them. I'm hoping that you can see that well enough. I did this in monoprint, so drawing, inked up with a piece of paper, and you kind of draw on it. It gives this lovely kind of smudgy effect. But you can see it was, well, I don't know, similar but a bit different. But it was called I've Got Two Eyes at that stage, which then changed to Just Like You. And you can see there it's the little house at the beginning, which no longer is on the end papers actually of the book, but it is kind of quite a key image in the story. So very, very rough. That's one little boy. I've got two eyes. I've got one nose. Don't know if I'm hoping you can see these okay, or I'll be doing another recording, won't I? This one here. So that's some of the original drawings. And then when I did the colour spreads for the book that I put together for my course, that was what the cover looked like. So you can see, although the character is a boy, quite a lot of it's pretty much the same. The colours, this kind of almost halo type thing. At the time when I put it together, it was kind of in replacement from doing kind of colour or texture of the child and their features, but we still kept it, even though in the book, as you'll see here, the child is kind of filled in, has got skin colour in her own right. I'm not entirely sure what it represents. In a way, it's almost like a kind of maybe a protective halo, a glow, but a spotlight even maybe. But I don't know, maybe you would have your own ideas about what it could be, but we decided to keep it in the book nevertheless. That's another colour one of the little boy pointing to his eyes. And then this one here, him snuggled up in bed. Again, as you can see, that's quite similar to how the book is now, actually. On there. And this one here. Okay. I just wanted to kind of flag up a few things about refugees and what's happening currently. So a refugee, and if I look like I'm reading, I slightly am, because I won't retain all these facts in my head, so I'm very sorry. But the UNHCR describes refugees as people who have fled war, violence, conflict or persecution and have crossed an international border to find safety in another country. I think that's really kind of key, because we know from news reports that there is anything but safety in these journeys, and very often anything but safety in the places where they find themselves, looking for safety and protection, and it kind of just isn't happening. More and more countries are closing their borders, for example. It's kind of a bit mind-blowing. The situation we're in now is the greatest humanitarian crisis since the end of World War II, which is shocking. There are more child refugees in Europe than any time since the end of World War II. Nearly 8 million children have fled Syria alone, and a lot of them are on their own, literally alone, no families. Many are stranded in transit centres and unable to reach their families who are legally settled in Europe. Many are separated from the families and they have to rely on smugglers, and obviously makes them extremely vulnerable. I cannot even imagine how that would feel if that was my children. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is read just a short extract of Just Like You to you, just to give you a bit of a flavour. And yeah, just like you. I've got 2 eyes. I've got 2 ears. I've got 1 mouth. And 1 nose. I've got 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 knees and 1 bottom. My feet can take me a long, long way. And they can help me run fast too. And that's as much as I'm going to read. But thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and that you find Just Like You interesting, and will maybe like to either find it in your library or buy it. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.